Welcome to the Feel Good 5, quick tips, tools, and strategies to help you feel good more of the time. What are your biggest challenges in feeling good? Today, I'm going to share some common challenges and offer a few tips for dealing with them. One big challenge in feeling good is worry. Do you worry a lot? I used to be a chronic worrier to the point where I'd lie awake at night stressing about things that might possibly happen, but usually didn't. I'd make myself sick over it sometimes. I finally decided to stop worrying when I realized that, first of all, I had no control over any of the things I was constantly worrying about. And second, I finally realized how much unnecessary stress I was causing myself. I think also around that same time, I was learning about the power of intentions and positive expectations. So when I thought about my habit of chronic worry, I realized that I was basically investing my energy and intention into these scary possibilities I was worrying about, which wasn't going to help anything. It took some practice, but little by little, I trained myself not to worry anymore. Now, that's not to say that I don't still feel some concern about certain things. Of course I do. Like if someone close to me receives a serious health diagnosis, of course I'm concerned about them. If I hear of a severe storm heading my way, of course I'm concerned about that, and I'll still take action to be prepared and stuff like that. But what I don't do anymore is obsess over the scary possibilities. I don't lie awake at night stressing about stuff. When my thoughts start heading in that direction, I say, nope, not going to worry about that. I intend that all is well. I intend a positive outcome for all concerned. And then I let it go. And 9 times out of 10, things do work out just fine. And those odd times when maybe there isn't such a positive outcome, I just deal with it like we all have to do sometimes. That's life, right? There are ups and downs all the time, but you just have to trust that you can handle whatever happens and try not to look too far ahead. Stay in the present moment and don't borrow trouble for tomorrow. So, if you're a chronic worrier, definitely start letting go of that habit as soon as possible. It's one of the best ways to help yourself feel much, much better on a daily basis. Not only will you feel more peaceful and calm emotionally, but this should benefit your physical body too. Think about what's happening to you physically when you're stressing and worrying about all kinds of stuff. You're keeping your body in a state of chronic stress and tension, and that's not good. You'll feel a huge positive difference when you give up that worry habit. Another big one is complaining. Oh boy, we love to complain, don't we? That's another thing I used to do a lot, and still do occasionally if I'm being honest. It's a hard habit to break because by complaining, what we're really trying to do is change something, improve a situation. We figure that if we complain loudly enough, someone will do something to fix the situation. And while it might feel good to vent for a few minutes, it doesn't really help in the long run because now we're all tangled up in feelings of frustration and dissatisfaction, and nothing good can really come from that. So, what can you do instead of complain? I do a couple of things. First, I usually catch myself early on when I start complaining, and I realize, whoops, don't want to go too far down that path, do I? Nope. So I'll say to myself, okay, that's what I don't want. What do I want? And I'll spend a few minutes thinking about how I would like that situation to be. I'd like my boss to be nicer to me. I'd like that person to give me more space. I'd like things to flow a little easier in this area of my life. Now, that doesn't mean that any of that stuff is going to magically manifest before me in the moment, but honestly, just focusing more on what I want rather than what's frustrating me, it totally does help me feel better in the moment. Another thing I do is try to reframe my perception of the person or situation. So let's say someone is being rude or inconsiderate and I'm feeling offended by it. I could get angry and complain about it, or I can take a step back and try to look at them more objectively. I'll say to myself, maybe they're just having a bad day, or maybe they were never taught how to be polite and respectful. But that has nothing to do with me. It's their issue, not mine. They can act that way, but I don't have to let it affect me. And just by doing that little mental shift in perspective, I feel better. When it comes right down to it, complaining isn't going to make you feel good, and it's probably not going to change anything either. But if you can use those situations as opportunities to think about the end result you want, you end up feeling better. And let's do one more common challenge. Probably the most common barrier to feeling good is too much looking around and not enough looking within. That sounds funny, but there's so much negativity out there in the world. There's a lot of good too, but the negativity seems to catch our attention much more than the positive things. And if you're spending most of your time observing that negative stuff, you're going to feel the negative effects of that mentally, emotionally, and physically. But you don't have to completely withdraw from the world to feel better. If you can spend just some time each day focusing within yourself, meditating, deep breathing, visualizing something nice, or just focusing on something positive, like making a gratitude list or reading something positive, that will help you balance your perspective so much. It's not about avoiding negativity completely, but just creating more of a balance within yourself so that the negative stuff out there doesn't take over your whole focus. That's all. What are some of your biggest challenges in feeling good? Feel free to share your thoughts on those, but most importantly, try to come up with coping mechanisms to help you deal with them more effectively. Come up with a plan of action or a soothing statement or a slight mental shift that you can do in the moment when you realize that you're not feeling so good. Thanks for joining us for the Feel Good 5 today. For more Feel Good inspiration, come hang out with us at the Feel Good Club at feelgoodclub.info. That's feelgoodclub.info. This is Wendy with the Feel Good Club and Wings for the Heart, and I'm wishing you ever-increasing ease in your ability to feel really good.